Hi everyone, my name is Natalie Dawson. Welcome to Leader Talk. This show is proudly brought to you by Brainiact. Each week we are meeting with incredible leaders from around the world to discuss all things leadership and business insights. Each person coming on this talk show has given up their valuable time for one very clear purpose: to give back to small and medium business owners. Now, becoming a confident leader is what many of us aspire to be, but is this something that can be learnt or even taught? Today, my co-host, CEO of Pierlite, Arianto, and I are fortunate to chat to our guest speaker, Amanda Rose. Amanda is the founder of Six Businesses, Australia's foremost strategic connector, workplace trainer, business consultant, and keynote speaker. Amanda is here today to help us all become better leaders, understand the importance of personal and professional brand, and how to strategically connect to better our business. Welcome to the show, Amanda.
Thanks for having me.
Amanda, thank you for donating your time for our audience, small and medium business all over the world. Your time is valuable and we can't wait to learn from you.
Thank you.
Now, Amanda, we always start our show with two fun questions we ask our guests. So your two that we have, what is your favorite holiday destination?
It's actually Bermagui in the south coast of New South Wales.
Oh, really? Have you been there recently?
I go there every year, twice a year for the past 8 years.
Wow.
I haven't been there. Have you been there, guys?
No.
Yeah, it is my place where I go and reset twice a year with my business, which I advise everyone to do. So every year go down for a week or 2 weeks at the end of the year and reset all my goals, everything, and plan what I want to do, get rid of things, add more, and start again.
Wow.
Okay, added to my list immediately.
Very
And what
good.
about coffee or tea?
Coffee, black.
Oh, that's like me. I'm definitely more than one a day, right?
Yes.
I can see it on your eyes, Amanda. You know, that energy from the black coffee, that one.
Yes, yes.
Gus is not a coffee drinker, hence he doesn't understand why I always drink coffee too. Now, before we go into the questions, Amanda, we're hoping you can tell us a bit about yourself and your businesses, because I know there's six. There's not many people we've had on the show that can say they have, they have six businesses. So please tell us about yourself.
Okay, so I actually have two companies and the businesses sit under that. So one company is Shoshana Group and I do a lot of consulting under that. And we have Small Business Women Australia and Amanda Rose Consulting. And then we have Western Sydney Women, and under that have Western Sydney Executive Women, Western Sydney Business Women, Western Sydney Advisory, which is an advisory firm, and also Businesswoman Media, which I recently actually sold during COVID, which was a media platform, a global media platform that I created because no one wanted to publish what I wanted to say. So I did it myself and I thought it can't be that hard, right? So I sold that one. But I am starting more, and which my rule is if I start one, I have to sell one.
Oh, isn't that a great, so always will be six. Is that the ballpark?
Yes, pretty much. And I kind of get away with cheeky sub-brands of different businesses. So I do a lot of events and summits. So I'm launching more summits, and awards programs and things like that. So that's technically under that brand.
Wow.
It's amazing because, we talk about businesses. I own, a company, and one's enough for me. I help my husband with his, and it's a lot. But when we talk about six, like, how do you juggle it all?
Good delegation. So you need to have very clear vision of what you want for each brand and why you did it. And the second it's not serving its purpose or it's not being profitable or you can't commercialize it like you thought, you need to get rid of it. And also sometimes you need to just sell it if it's not, you're not loving it anymore and it's structured and it's doing well, you need to move it on. But you need to be very clear and you need to be able to delegate and have a good team to delegate to and constantly mentor them, but you cannot do it all on your own. And I think that's something people need to realize.
Yeah, it is where they do, and then they're so time poor and they're working these crazy hours, but they can't grow. Definitely.
That's right.
I have a question. I have a question for you, Amanda. The topic that we will bring on the table today is being confident. Now, you have six businesses. I want to take you back to the start of one of the businesses. I'm sure at the start of your business, you don't have the confidence and the capability maybe or the understanding about that particular business compared to now. What do you say to all of us here that's starting our business to remain confident For example, well, let me choose a business. Today is an overcast, rainy day, so I'm a noodle shop today. I just opened my noodle shop in Melbourne. Haven't even sell my first bowl of noodle. How do I remain confident when I'm just starting there? Now you have 6. It's been in the operation. You are a confident businesswoman. Back to the start. What the message you give to all of us that just starting?
I think, look, the best piece of advice, especially when you're first starting out, is to actually absorb as much from other people that you can. So don't think you have to know everything. I think the biggest thing is when we start a business, we're just like, oh, I feel like a failure if I have to ask for help or ask for advice. Ask for it, get a mentor, attend events, ask questions, and pay for the right type of expertise that you need. So I advise against startups or people that are just starting out to jump straight at a business coach. It sounds like a great idea. However, what you're looking for is, where are the gaps in my abilities? What do I not know about? And then I should pay for that. So for example, you can pay for a 1-hour session with a lawyer and learn enough for you to keep you going for 12 months. You can pay for a 1-hour session with an accountant or a PR advisor or someone. Just do the 1 hours with everyone to get an understanding of where you're doing really well or not doing so well, and that you might need to invest in that. And ask questions, go to other places, find out how they do what they do, but then also don't underestimate your instincts of why you started it. So why your business is different to someone else's. People might doubt you. Oh, you'll never work. That'll never work. And that's just rubbish. That's usually jealousy. But really get out there and say, what can I absorb? What can I learn? Research it. And I did that with Businesswoman Media. I had no idea about the media world. I had no idea about any of that. So I thought I knew what I needed. What I was good at is business and strategy and my content. What I wasn't good at is I had no experience in that world. So the first thing I did was I hired an editor. So I interviewed a bunch of people. I got a bunch of interns to assist as well, because I wanted to help their careers as well as they're helping me. So it was a win-win. But I hired an editor who stayed with me the whole time. And
Oh, are we having technical issues? I think we're having some technical issues on Amanda's end. Amanda, are you still with us?
And maybe Amanda can join us. Yes.
Oh, you're still with us?
Sorry. Maybe the information was too much. No, I'm here. Okay, there we are. I am
You're
here.
there. You're coming back pixelated.
This is the era of digital.
Let me tell you. I'll tell you one thing about technology. I love it and I hate it.
Yeah.
And all my brands, a lot of them are online too, so I know the pain. Oh, I'm here. Okay, good. Yeah, so where did you lose me?
Yeah. So Amanda, you know what's interesting? A lot of people, I'm sure, will listen to this and think, God, the suggestion from the expert is so simple. Don't think you need to know everything. Of course, we do not know everything. Get mentor, invest in yourself, and pay. Why do you think a lot of people refuse to do that? Am I right to say that?
No, you're right. You're right. You're 100% right. Because I think it's a couple of factors. One is the online world and people out there just lie through their teeth, right? They're telling you that they're massively successful by doing the bare minimum, and that's absolute rubbish, because it's actually harder than you realize. And then you've got people that are promising you the world. So, they're saying it's so easy for me. Let me help you for just $10,000. And it's like, well, hang on a minute. Are you asking the right questions? Prove to me that you've actually succeeded in that and not just talked about it. So a human nature is, they instantly, what's the quick way to do this? Why do you think the health and fitness industry of take this pill and buy this machine and you'll lose all your weight? Because our instinct is, that's the quickest, easiest way. So we want to believe these lies. A lot of people want to believe them. And it's not until they pay for it and realize it's a lie that they're now backwards a few months or a few years from doing that. So that's why it's really important to have real conversations with real people. We instantly want to go to the quick fix, and the quick fix is literally the biggest problem in society. It's why social media thrive, because it's a quick fix, and people have lost the ability to say, no, we need to go through the basics and planning and hard work and reevaluating, and no one wants to do that. And those that do it succeed. It takes longer. We need to be honest with people how long things take. But they're like, yeah, but this person said they made, $1 million in 12 months. I'm like, yes, but they're probably selling cocaine. So you need to be very careful about what it is that you're, where you're getting advice from and the type of business you want to run.
Yeah,
it is so
fantastic.
It is, and you're right. How many things, like our inboxes are bombarded with, people trying to sell us things every single day. Thank goodness most goes to junk. But then you've got LinkedIn, these connections that you make. The moment you make that connection, 5 seconds later, you're already being offered, or, I can do this for you, or, we are actually surrounded by it. And to actually think that you can trust everyone, that's where it really dilutes that trust, isn't it?
Well, I don't think, my saying is you trust no one and you're off to a good start.
That's a good one, Gus. We have to remember that one. If we go back to this idea of confidence and being a confident leader, it is something that a lot of people struggle with. Is confidence something that can be taught, Amanda? Is it something that can, I'm a shy leader, but I, really want to run this successful business. I want to bring on people, but I don't succeed at being confident. Can it be something that can be taught?
Or
Yes.
maybe just to come back one step,
Mm-hmm.
how do you describe confident before you answer, Natalie?
That's a good question. Yeah. Essentially, I would say there's not caring about what anyone thinks of you, right? I think that's a very powerful part of confidence. I have 100% trust in my abilities, and I don't care what other people think of me, of what I do. And to get to that stage, you actually need to know who you are, like your values and your ethics, and not budge from that. The second you start to sway, justify, compromise is a good word. The second you start to compromise your core values, your confidence will drop, right? And now to build your confidence, you've got to stick to those core values. And that's hard when everyone in that room might be against them, or everyone around you, in that environment might not agree with you. That's when you've got to stick to it. And when you stick to your core values and you've got that end goal that you want to achieve in life, and every decision you make that gets you closer to that end goal actually build your confidence. So if you've got a business and you're running, you've got a monthly goal, and you go, right, I need to do this month. And then someone contacts you, hey, let's catch up. And you're like, actually, no, because that's not in line with what I need to do. Or said, oh, let's, do you want to work with me on this business or come do this? And actually, no, it's not in line with where I'm headed. You feel, oh no, I'm rejecting them, or I feel bad, or I should say yes to it. No, confidence is actually, I don't want to work with that person because our brands aren't aligned, and or it's not going to take me to where I'm headed this month. So I've said no to that, and I've said yes to this, which will take me there. And the next day I'm like, gee, I feel a lot better about where I'm headed and what I'm doing. I feel more confident. You do that on repeat, you start to succeed. And the more you succeed on things that you plan on doing, the more confident you get in your abilities in doing it.
Yeah, so it's not something that can be taught. Like we can't go to a 6-week seminar that's going to teach us how to. It's understanding our purpose, our values, and sticking to this.
It's sticking to that. It's ignoring what everyone else says you should be. Look, you cannot change. You can't change who you are and what you believe just because of a conversation. And the world is telling everyone to have an open mind and change your mind and change your path. And no, why? Because someone else says you should? No, you should know exactly what you stand for and not budge from that. And it means every decision you make is going to be based on your core value system. And the more you stick to that, the more confident you'll be.
Well, I feel I'm more confident just listening to that now.
So I agree, Gus.
I think when your question is about can confidence be taught, the answer is yes, through the people like Amanda. It's not so much for the topic, but
but
like
people don't know how.
Yes,
yeah, because people don't know how. So a lot of people are teaching confidence that aren't confident themselves. Yes. Right? So they were like, believe in yourself. Just wake up every morning and say, I can do it. Well, that lasts for 30 seconds, right? But in difficult times, when you know what you stand for, you know where you're headed, and you're not relying on other people to make you feel good, you're not relying on other people to give you opportunities, because the reality is it's very rare that they will. So you need to say, right, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe, this is where I'm headed, and keep moving forward. 80% or 90% of what you do is in isolation, and only, the 10, 20% people will actually see, which is the way it should be. You shouldn't be telling the world what you're planning on doing. But the more you stick to that, now if you struggle with your core values, that's what you need to fix. And it's usually what you were raised on. It's usually deep inside in you, but you've forgotten because you've been pulled left, right, and center by other people's views and opinions, or a dominant relationship, or a horrible boss that's, helped force you to change what you stand for. So you kind of go back at, no, it might mean you need to audit the people around you, the social media that you follow, saying that's not in line with what I stand for. I don't like it. I don't have to slag it off online. I don't have to make comment on it. I just want to stay away from it.
Amanda, you know what's funny? I see a lot of different experts, different business owners, startup, mature business. When I hear you talking, I can see your confidence. But at the start of your conversation, you also humble enough to say, don't think you need to know everything. Get a mentor.
Yes.
How do then I, as a passionate noodle shop owner that is so confident, decided to listen to someone else? Like how do you say to people like me that is, I'm that confident that I actually close my ears about growth mindset?
Or it depends what you call growth mindset. Okay. So for example, growth mindset doesn't mean you change who you are. It's actually looking at different ideas and different perspectives on how it can help your business. So for example, you might, the younger generation are into sustainability and, purpose-driven businesses. And you could say, right, that's what they're looking for. Then we need to have a project or a campaign that is purpose-driven to, attract them. And that's, again, in line with your core values if you're a purpose-driven person. But I think a lot of times is when you're doing well, and you get a little bit worried, or you think, oh, what else do I need to do? The worst thing you can do is start listening to people and anything and grab onto anything, hoping, oh, maybe I need that, maybe I need that. It should be, no, I can see that the market is going this way. I will do a bit of research. I'll ask some questions. What can I do that aligns with that new market and my business and my core values? Test it, see if it works, and then repeat.
Love it. So clearly, Gus, we all need to be confident leaders. But what about, Amanda, if we were to say, what are some of the benefits? And now we need to be sold on becoming a confident leader. What are some of the benefits that you've found that have come out of being a confident leader?
Oh, I tell you, so many benefits. For starters, people just avoid you in a room if they're going to try and lie to you or sell something to you. So I can walk into a room and all the dodgy people just do this. And all the genuine people that I've worked with that I know will come up and will engage and have a conversation. Sometimes people do come up to me and they shouldn't, and they quickly regret it if they try and lie. And I ask questions, and I think that's the most powerful thing you can do is ask questions when you're not comfortable, you're not sure of someone. So it helps with that. It actually filters out a lot of rubbish. I have a lot less people trying to sell to me, lie to me, manipulate me. That you get rejected in a way, kind of, like I said, like cut out of things, but it's a good thing because you're cut out of the rubbish. And what it does is that it leaves the good, right? It leaves the gold. So because the other people that have been cut out too, they also have the same values as you. They have the same confidence as you. So therefore, you're kind of left with a pool of people that's smaller and a pool of brands, and you go, these are the people I want to work with. And that's stronger, and it saves you having to go through all the different groups of people. It also helps you with your decision making. Your decisiveness goes through the roof when you're confident about who you are and where you're headed, because something comes your way, answer, done. You think about things on an ongoing basis as a business owner, but you can make decisions when you're confident about who you are, what you stand for, and where you're headed. You can say yes, no. You can fix problems very quickly. You don't freak out over an issue. Right, what's the problem? What's the solution? Implement it, done. So I find that the more confident you are, the less emotionally driven you are.
Oh, that's a fantastic comment. Yes.
Yeah, if it aligns to your values and you know your values inside out, the decisions just, you can make them on the spot, right? It's those that really don't understand their purpose, their values and things like that, that kind of need to think about it, right?
They do, but also not feel that they have to be like everyone else. You don't have to change your values or what you because of the people around you. You can still work with people with different values to some degree and different beliefs, but the core is that it's like, do I want to align myself to that brand? I don't particularly like how they do business. So you need to be careful with that. But a lot of people feel like they have to change per group, per event, per meeting. Don't change who you are. You want to be seen, and people, when you walk into any room, any meeting, at any conversation, it's the exact same person they're dealing with. Yes, you might tweak how you communicate depending on the group, but who you are doesn't change. So too many people change with the wind. You know, they say that to that person, that to that person, that, and really you lose credibility and you lose yourself.
Yes.
Absolutely. And then what about, is there, and this kind of goes back with Gus's question, but I just want to ask it in this way for our audience, is there such a thing as being too confident? Is there such a thing? No, just keep going.
Because I think that what people get confused with confidence is arrogance.
Yeah.
So, but they're actually at the opposite ends of the spectrum, right? So an arrogant person is probably one of the most insecure people you'll ever meet. Right? So inferiority and superiority are two sides of the same coin. So when someone feels extremely inferior in an environment, they'll try and make you feel inferior by making themselves superior to you, right? And it's an arrogance. And so as soon as someone is arrogant to you, straight away know you got the upper hand because they feel inferior to you. Don't take it personally. A confident person doesn't have to be at the head of the table, doesn't have to be the loudest voice, doesn't have to be anything in particular. They don't care if they're accepted or not. Right. And this too confidence thing, really, your confidence grows over time. Like, I'm a lot more confident now than I was 5 years ago. And I look forward to what I'm going to be in 5 years from now. So it just keeps growing the more that you stick to who you are and you stick to your values and you stick to your goals.
We can talk about being a confident leader for this whole hour, but I'm gonna move it to ethical leadership because I know you're an advocate for this. Can you let us know perhaps define it first? Ethical leadership, what is it, and how can it benefit us?
It's funny because it's such a rarity now. Ethical leadership is essentially doing the right thing, right? But without justifying it. So often people say, I did this because that person did that to me, like revenge, or I'm doing this because, well, they do it, so I'm going to do it too. So that business does it this way, so I will do it this way. That's not ethical leadership. Ethical leadership is doing the right thing, no matter how difficult it is. And that is so rare. We don't see it very much in business leaders. We don't see it very much in politicians. And we don't, what that does, it has a ripple effect down to students and everyday people that then think, oh, it's okay if I, the white lie, or, that. And it's really quite interesting. I was like, well, it's wrong. Like, would you like someone to say that to you? Like you're lying to someone about the value of your product or service, or, you're lying to them to get them on board. And I said, but would you want someone to do that to you? And when you put it that way, they're like, oh, well, yeah, but that person did it to me and that person does it. So it's okay. No, just because everyone jumps off the Harbour Bridge, doesn't mean you do too. So it's that kind of group think that we now live in a world where, morality is seen as failure and weakness, when actually it's strength, and it can be lonely, but it's powerful. And if you want to be a true leader, you need to make the stand, and you need to make the sacrifices of saying no to the things that are the quick money or the corruption or the little lie over here, and say, no, I'm going to do it the right way. And it's slower, but it's also more stable. It's kind of like an oak tree, the roots are deep and it's strong. So when things come your way to try and rattle you, you don't move.
And Amanda, how do you describe the right thing when diversity, culture, mix, and background come to it?
Yep.
How do you generalize this, or do you have any suggestion?
Well, for starters, don't listen to the world, because it changes every week like the wind. And that comes back down to what I was talking about with confidence, is your value system, right? So when you talk about ethical leadership, it is a personal journey. So it's not what you call ethics or what you call ethics or anyone else. It's what I call ethical. So that is based on my value system. So your value system should not budge, because the second it budges, then your ethical leadership means that you're changing according to the latest research or the latest hype or trend. No, I'm not budging with my core values. This is what I call right. This is what I call wrong. Other people might have different. That's fine. You're not aligned. You don't have to work together, and we have different views in the world. That's perfectly fine. But you personally, your value system, when you walk into a room and everyone is doing something you don't agree with it, you can stay silent and you can say, actually, I don't agree with that. But hey, you do you, I'll do me. That's my ethical leadership and my value system. But a second you dilute what you stand for, or you get influenced by others, by fear, by wanting to be accepted, then your ethical leadership actually dilutes as well. It's kind of just changes. And then people think, hang on a minute, I can't respect you because you said that in that meeting and you said that in that meeting.
Yeah, and Amanda, it's really interesting because a lot of people that we do chat to, small, medium business owners, even large business owners, they, when they start off, they're in these situations where they think that they can't say no to new jobs or situations because they're very early on and they need to keep saying yes. They don't want to lose a new client. And it can be quite toxic. Like we've heard of some pretty horrible situations. And this is kind of what you're talking about. Your ethics need to start and need to be grounded from the very beginning. And it is okay to say no. Is that right? Because that word, I find that is quite, you hear it where people are scared to say no. They don't know what the flow-on effect is.
They are. And look, no was the first word in my life. So that was not mum and dad, it was no. And I think people
love it.
People don't understand
the
power of it. And it doesn't have to even be said in that way. And there are many, many ways to say no. And it's something you should be self-checking on a regular basis. When an opportunity comes your way. Now, I know Richard Branson says, say yes and work it out, as you go. That only works if that opportunity is aligned to where you're headed, right? Aligned to the goal, aligned to your ethics. Then, yes, say yes and work it out. Perfectly fine. But you don't say yes to everything. And a way to prevent yourself from jumping into potential situations that are dangerous is to ask questions. So an opportunity comes your way. Oh, we'd like to buy 1,000 of your product. Great. But it's you could say, but we only want to pay 10 cents per item, but if we sell it, we'll give you an extra 50 cents. And you're like, okay, but how many will you sell? Or we can't guarantee that, or things like that. So, well, hang on a minute, where's the buffer for me? Because it costs me 30% to actually break even. You're only paying me 10 cents. So I'm losing 20 cents per item and you can't guarantee it. Now, it looks like a great idea, doesn't it? 1,000 items, fantastic. Well, actually, no, you're losing money if it doesn't go ahead. And you think, but what if it does go ahead? Well, that's why people are obsessed with gambling. What if I do win? And how many people win? Not many. So ask the questions and say, well, hang on a minute. I need to make sure that when I'm going into any decision, that the worst case scenario for me is that I'm breaking even, so I'm not losing money. And that's when that opportunity is coming to you as well. Often I question opportunities that come my way because the best ones are the ones you have to go and hunt.
Yeah, it's amazing. And I think you summarize it really well on your website, right at the beginning. For anyone that hasn't checked out your website, just correct me. I think it's amandarose.com.au, if I'm correct. As soon as you go on the webpage, right at the top, it says, if you're going to play the game, you've got to learn to play it right. And I just love it. It's so simple, but it's so true. And that's for all business owners, isn't it? And not even business owners, people in general.
Everyone. And that comes from a Kenny Rogers song. So if anyone wants to listen to the whole song, please do, because every single word in that song is correct for the business world, the political world, the career world, just everything. You got to stay guarded at all times, and you need to know how to play the game. And people misinterpret that, though. They think playing the game means I'm going to play like you, or I'm going to lie, cheat, and steal like you. No, it doesn't. I'm going to play the game on my terms and how I do things, which will give me the upper hand because I'm not playing like you. But you need to know what you're walking into. You need to know the jungle you're walking into and how people act and what they're like. And don't walk away crying going, oh, I can't believe they lied to me. I'm like, when the game is one big Vanity Fair, it's just all lies and pretension and fake. So you've got to be able to walk in and spot the people that you want to work with.
I love this.
It's amazing, Amanda,
listening
to you right now. If there will be, I'm sure there will be two audience. One is the one that say, everything Amanda say sounds right, not necessarily right, but the way you position it, I want to be on your table. I want to be following you because your confidence is not overpowering me, but I can clearly see why you advocating being confident is key to success. I can feel it across the screen. I can feel it across the screen, because it's not even a sense of being confident means that you're not asking. Being confident means you're not trying to learn something new. Being confident not means that you're not adjusting your business. It's actually the other way around. You want to research it, you want to learn it. The only thing that you say that I think I could agree is understand your purpose, be strong with your values, and play a game that not changing your values and your purpose.
100%. There you go. Nailed it.
Yeah, it is. Fantastic. And if everyone can just take that away from the discussion, I mean, Gus, we can go on this for a long time. It's a brilliant topic, but I know that they're tuning in also for personal and professional brands. I want to move the conversation onto that, because that's super important. How important from your perspective, Amanda, is developing a personal and professional brand for business owners?
So this is interesting. I find women struggle with this the most when it comes to branding. They feel they're being dishonest if what they have in their personal life isn't shared all over their social media and their business world. And I thought, actually, no. So I'm not a believer in vulnerability in building community. I believe in relatability. So I think vulnerability is something that opens up for attacks. It can open you up. It's pretty much saying, here is the vulnerable parts of me, go for gold and knock yourself out. When really, I think it's relatability. So relatability is being able to share stories in the right venues at the right time with the right people, but vulnerability opens you up. And it could be vulnerable in the sense of you sharing your family life story in a community which could attack it or could make fun of you, or you don't look strong. And I think you should separate the two. You don't change who you are, because who you are, your core values won't change. But on your business world and your business image, you don't have to tell the world everything. You don't have to tell the world what you think, where you live, what you do in your family, unless it's relevant to your business and you've chosen to do that. But you don't have to do that. So your professional brand is, the business world is going to say, do I want to work with this person? How do they handle conflict? How do they handle big decisions? Are they emotional? Can they handle this type of thing? These are all things they're looking at you, your ethics, your everything, right? You want to position that saying, this is the type of person you want to work with or buy from. And it might bring in some personal, I know I have clients that bring in their personal touches, but just enough to relate. So they're relatable. And then over in the personal world, that's private, because you need to live when you're a small business owner, you need to say to yourself, if my small business, I decide to walk away from that tomorrow, I'm not walking away from my life. It is not my life. And everything that's attached to that business can go with that business. And I still feel fulfilled and happy and content, and I can get on with my life without it. The second you mix the two, when one goes, you feel like you've lost both. And that's dangerous.
So it's okay. So if I'm going to give a scenario here.
Yep.
Gus will know this real life person. So female business owner has, let's say, 5 children, 2 pets. Let's keep that as personal, right? We can create a professional brand as a successful female business owner that is running a business. You're saying it can be kept completely separate.
Absolutely, you can. And also, if your business is, say you are running a business and you started because I know a lot of clients have created things because of the issues they had with the children. It could be health issues or skin. So they created a product. So they said, so they talk about their story of my child had this issue and why I created it. But it doesn't then mean I said, I'm going to show you pictures of my child at daycare, and I'm going to show you all the personal choices I made in life. And then I'm having issues with my husband and but this is why I love my business. And people are like, whoa, this is very personal. This is, yes, it can build a following, but does it build a business? So you've got to be very careful, because it's, yes, there's a crossover in some businesses, and I love relatability. I think it's very powerful and it's a great way to connect with people. But you also need to think the worst case scenario. My biggest concern, especially for small business women, is that people will follow you because they can relate on your personal story, but are they relating to what you're selling? Do they want to buy from you? You know, are you feeling a need? Is it something that, so we can mix that, and we don't know, I don't understand why I've got 10,000 followers and no one's buying, because they love the stories you're sharing about your life, right? You're a hot topic of discussion with people, but no one's buying from you. So either commercialize that or change your approach. But you want to be able to separate it in case, once if you get divorced and this just absolutely falls apart, which happens a lot, you know, with people, you want your business to be strong without that happening. You know, that keeps going. Or your business falls apart, you want to be able to go back to your family life and be like, oh no, I'm not doing that anymore. But it's not like, oh no, you failed, your life's over. And so separating the two is actually just very healthy.
And I can see it. I can see it because I might see it wrongly right now. I never think about this, but the way you explain it to me, if you want to run a business where, say, negotiations is the key of winning your business, and then your side of a story showing how much argument you have with your husband, with your children, and you posting on TikTok when you're slapping the door or things like that, maybe the people that want to negotiate just walk away. Because
yes, and the thing is, the Australian way, so the US is very different. So US people in the US, and I work with, I do a lot with in the US, they will say, I don't like that, and what the hell are you doing? The Australians will go, oh, that's nice, and ignore you and not work with you. We don't like confrontation in Australia very much. We think that anything is confrontational, unfortunately, but they just won't work with you. And you're like, why won't they work with me? Well, because they see you as an emotional mess over here, and then over here you're talking about confidence training. So they're going to say, well, hang on a minute, if you're not confident, how can you train me to be confident?
I can see that.
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting take on it, because people, I guess you mentioned the digital world, it's just all around us, and the two can become so connected that you don't even realize that your personal has gotten into your professional and vice versa, because it's kind of,
but it's also driven often by loneliness. So a lot of people share a lot more online than they need to, because they want validation and they want to be accepted and they want to build a following, and they don't have enough faith and trust in what they're providing business-wise. So they try and bring in their personal side to bring it on. Now, you can still be fun and do all these things in your business, and that's fine. But the second you start bringing all of this personal to try and build that following, and it has nothing to do with your business offering, it is dangerous territory.
And whilst we are in the topic of developing a personal brand and a professional brand, back to I'm a startup of a noodle shop. Where do I start, Amanda? How do I start?
Well, first you ask why you're starting it. So you've got your values and your core values. That's your personal brand, or both actually. Your core values is the core of both. But then you're going to say, well, hey, what's my purpose here? Why am I creating it? So obviously you're in business to make money, and that's a given. So financial goals needs to be set. But it's like, well, am I doing this because I love dealing with people, I love food, I want a community that I'm building? You know, how do I want to be perceived when I'm launching this and I'm out there in the community? When people see me and eat my food and come to my store, how do they feel? How do I want them to feel? That's your brand. So it's like, I go there, it's so much fun, they're friendly, I feel at home, the food's amazing, and they always have something different every Friday, which is why I love going there. And that's your professional brand. And your core values, both personal and professional, is the fact that you're ethical, you're kind, you're professional, and that's why they keep coming back. But you've got to say, well, how do you want people to feel when they work with you? So for me, I want people to feel that, I'm not going to lie. They know that they're going to get the truth. I'll always be empathetic, but I'm not going to be sympathetic. So I'm not going to be like, poor you. I'm going to say, I understand where you're coming from, but let's fix it. So I'm not the one to sit there and make you feel good in an hour with no solutions. So I'm pretty brutal.
And if I want to start up, I'm a startup, and I'm, going to be opening up a florist, for example, Amanda, when we're talking about professional and personal brands, what channels should I be looking at to elevate this, or at least start it? Is there something that we should be doing first before, the second thing comes? Is it would you be suggesting social media, website?
Well, you need to know you've got a market. Right. So you need to know. So if you're going to open a shop, I would suggest doing a stall, or doing a pop-up. So you're not having the commitment of the shop, because it's a lot. And people often say, oh, it's only this much per week. Insurances, staff, electricity, all these other things, stock. So if you do pop-ups, it's a great teaser and great way of testing the demand for what you have in that area. And, you know, a lot of people that physical shop, remember that physical shop is for that geographical area. So you then need to consider the online version, and can you deliver further? How are you going to make your money? Is it just going to be in that region, which means you need to have friends and family buy from you repeatedly, but you need to test it first. Don't invest a lot of money and time until you've tested it, because, you know, if you have a business that everyone else has got and there's nothing different about you, they'll just stick to where they're going. Right. But if you can create something that is unique, which usually is why you're doing it, because you found a gap, not just, I love flowers, I'd love to do it. It could be, I'm frustrated because I couldn't find, you know, the business that has those daily or weekly flowers, little posies they can deliver. It's cheap, it's quick. People are like, great, I can just buy from that every week for different people to send them thank yous. Great business idea, right? No one was doing it. So what is it? Is your suburb or your area have no florist? Great. Right? But do they want to buy your flowers? What's the price point? How much will they pay? And the markets and pop-up stores are great to test it. But you need to test first, see if there's a demand, get regular customers, and how you deal with people is going to be probably 90% of it. So as long as you've got a good product and people want it, how you're dealing with people with customer service, you know, being kind, being professional, good price point, and building up over time. People also feel that they need to make a profit very quickly, and some businesses don't, which is why you need financial backing before you go into business. And it could be part-time, but yeah, you need to test it first. And I think that will also help you tweak and change, which is nothing wrong with that. You can tweak and change your business according to needs, as long as you're not changing, you know, your core values to do that.
Yeah, super
How do
interesting.
we find the right core values? How do we know? Maybe not find. How do we know that we have the right core values?
Well, I can't tell you that. That's going to be between you and your belief system. So often what you'll find is that if you put it this way, if the world accepts you, you're probably believing the wrong thing. Because the world is innately evil, right? And they love fast money and corruption and easy living and hype, and everything's, you know, lies, and that's okay because everyone else is doing it. So if you're really aligned to the world, you probably have, you know, a black soul. So you probably want to review that and say, well, hang on a minute, and always go back to, I say, how you were raised, you know, and when you were young, and what you stood for when you were little, how you were raised from your family and your belief system, and say, well, hang on a minute, let me go back to that. Let me go back to who I actually was before I got into the world, before I started seeing social media and influences of everything out there, because they don't care about you. The world does not care about you, right? As long as they can chew you up and spit you out, and then you're left all alone. So your core values and the people that align the same are your people.
Yes.
Does that answer it, Gus?
Yes.
It is. It is a really tough one, isn't it? Like sometimes you can't just, what are your values? You do have to really revisit that on, you know, what makes you who you are. It is a tough one. It's not something
and don't fear rejection of people because your values are different, right? You know, it's a private journey. The world doesn't need to know your values. You don't have to tell the whole world, but your decisions will come from that. Yeah. And people will see it that way. But don't fear of, but if I'm like this, but they're like this and I want to be accepted by them. But just remember, that's the world, and that's a group of people that don't really care about you, right? So you've got to be very careful. You're not changing your entire purpose and core values and everything just to be accepted by a group of people that don't actually care.
Yeah. And I think come back to what you mentioned before. Unfortunately, we cannot be consistent if we are not who we are. Exactly. You need to be that authentic. You cannot talk like this to Amanda, talk like that to Natalie, talk like this to Gus. Like, I mean, at one point people said this guy or this girl is a liar because yesterday and today is different. So somehow, some way, we need to be authentic and stick with.
And it's easier, can I just say? Life is a lot easier when you just stick to who you are. You don't lie. You don't worry about what people think of you. You don't try and be accepted. You deliver quality. You're kind. That's it. It's simple. It's like the world hates simplicity. Simplicity is what you want. And facing reality is very difficult, which is why we have a lot of issues in this world. But really, if you keep things simple, there's less pressure. right? There's less pressure for yourself. So keep, simple life. The world says, tries to mock you that you're boring if you have a simple life. I'm like, actually, no, you're happy.
Yes.
Yeah, and someone in one of our Leader Talk, one of our really early episodes, it was discussed where just that, you can pretend or you can fake it or do anything to a certain point, but when you're faced with these difficult situations,
yes,
that is when you break, and you can't put on that facade or that fake, whatever this brand that you've developed, because when you're in a difficult situation, your true colors come out.
Well, when they say if you give a person money or power, you'll see what they're truly like.
Yeah.
And it's true. And the same goes with difficult situations. I think during the lockdowns and COVID and the GFC, when that first happened, a lot of leaders, now mind you, everyone loves that term, but they don't realize the responsibility that comes with that.
Yes.
Everyone loves it until it's difficult. And then all of a sudden it's not my problem. It's someone else's fault. And I didn't do it and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, actually, being a leader is being a leader during the good times and the bad times. So there's nothing wrong with not being a leader as well. So I think a lot of people might listen to this and think, wow, you know what, leadership's intense and I'm not sure. Well, you can lead yourself, right? And you can lead 2 or 3 people. You don't have to be a leader of thousands. But you also need to understand that being the wing person, so being that 2IC, being the support team to a leader, is part of that leadership journey. So you believe the same things they believe, that you're on the same journey together, and it's a team effort. So too much in this world, we've all said, unless you're a leader or unless you're a good leader, unless you're successful, unless you're this, you're nothing, which is really rubbish, because if you look at hard times, a lot of those leaders everyone worshipped crumbled.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I'm looking at the time, and we do want to ask you about strategic connecting, because we've spoken a lot about networking, but you have a different point of view on this, and it's really interesting. In one of your articles, you start talking about this strategic connecting, but before we go on to it, can you explain what you mean by strategic connecting?
Essentially means connecting with purpose, right? So it's I find networking is like going to war without any equipment or the wrong equipment. You don't know who you're fighting, and you end up just hanging out with your mates from the same side. And then when something comes up, you're like, oh no, we'll run away. Don't really need to, what was happening. And then you leave like, oh, nothing really came from that. And that was a waste of time. Of course it was a waste of time. You didn't know why you were going. You didn't have a purpose to it. You didn't have a plan. And people think that that's aggressive. People think being strategic about every single thing you do in life is being aggressive, and no, it's not. That's business. Now, in your personal life, do what you like. But when it comes to business, if you don't have a purpose to it, you don't know why you're doing it, then why are you doing it? So networking is, I'm going to go network. So I'm going to turn up to an event, chat with a bunch of people, but I don't know why. Firstly, I don't know why I'm at this event. I just got invited, so I said yes. And then I'm going to mix with a bunch of people that I'm comfortable with because I saw them at the last event. Or I'm just going to hang in the corner and just watch a bit, and everyone was cold and didn't really look inviting, so I left. I'm like, that's a waste of time. That's networking, right? Strategic connecting can be done online, in person, anywhere. It's like, these are the people I want to meet. This is why I want to meet them. I'm going there to meet them. I'm going to have a conversation. I'm going to get to know them, see if we're aligned, see if we can work together, keep that connection going over time, offer something, explain what they get, learn from them, whatever it is. It could be done online via LinkedIn, could be done with an email. It's got purpose. It's not like, hey, let's catch up for coffee, or I'd like to work with you. It's, hi, this is what I do. I notice your business does this. If you need help with this area, that's what I specialize in. Love to work with you. Or going to an event, getting to know that industry, mixing with people, they know your name. You go to that type of event regularly, you become, oh, that's Amanda. She does this. So it's strategic in your approach. Following people up, researching them online, not just turning up and going, oh, hey, how are you? And that's great. And just rambling about nothing and then leaving, which is, think about it. That's like 4 or 5 hours of your time completely wasted.
Yeah. Amanda, am I right to say, I never feel I'm lazy until I'm talking to you. I felt like I'm a lazy person because what you're doing here is actually sharing your thought to our audience by saying, we are in business, time is limited, do your homework, and do not waste time just because you are lazy and you want to be mixing with the common activities of business people we call networking. We jump there, we eat with people, and then we go home not knowing. What you say is, do your homework, do your research, find out whether it's following your purpose.
Well, that's the key.
That's
the key. So the reason why people tend to do that is because they don't know their direction. That they haven't specified in their business what I want. What type of client do I want? Where are they? What's my goal? What's my financial goal for the month? How am I going to get that? What do I need to sell? Who do I need to partner with? If you know where you're headed, again, remember at the beginning of that confidence, if you know where you're headed, every decision you make that gets you there will build your confidence. So if you're going to an event that's going to help with that, then your confidence will be built. So sometimes people just don't know because they haven't set that goal and they haven't set that plan. And I'm a true believer of being extremely efficient with your time, because think of it, if you spend 5 hours networking at an event you shouldn't be at, you could have spent 5 hours over in your family, right? Spend and see as everything I do in my business, I'm doing to make money or to build a brand or to potentially make money and build my empire, so to speak. Everything I do is taking away from my family life or my personal life, whatever it is, right? So I want to be efficient with my networking. So I'm not going to that event because it'd be a waste of my time, because I don't need to network with anyone there. I'm going to spend those 3 to 4 hours with my family. But I am going to spend 3 to 4 hours on business. I'm going to email people that I know specifically I want to work with. So if you see that any time wasted in business is taking away from your personal life, you'll be a lot more efficient in business.
Yeah, and this is where a lot of us get it wrong, in my opinion, because the homework at the start, it's minimal, and then you do more at the end, and then you question why I have no time with the family, or doing a 3 times a year holiday in, where is your favorite destination again, Amanda?
Bermagui.
You can only do that because you have the time to do that, because
Yes.
you limit yourself for unnecessary thing. But
yeah,
unfortunately
and people think I work, 7 days a week, 18-hour days. No, that's not true. I love napping. So napping is my secret weapon, that if you work really hard, you need a nap, have it. But also I don't like to waste time. So, I'm asked nearly every day, let's catch up for coffee. And I'm like, what for? Why? And then it's like, oh, we've got synergies. I said, name 3. Give me 3 synergies you think we can do. So people just want to kind of hang out with you because they don't know where they're headed, or they do and they're lying to you because they're trying to get something from you. But there's nothing wrong with you as a business owner saying, I've got X amount of hours today. This is what I want to achieve. And if it doesn't fit in that, then I'm not doing it. And there's nothing wrong with saying no. People actually get annoyed when you say no too. I quite enjoy it. And I'm like, not my problem. So, you asked, I said no, move on. But it's got to be aligned to you. And yes, there'll be great partnerships and connections and so forth. But if you say yes to absolutely everything comes your way, you'll achieve very little and you'll be drained, and then you won't enjoy your personal life.
Yeah. And I think it's important for our audience. I'm not saying study Amanda website, understand this podcast. I think, you're able to rattle very quickly, understand your goal, understand where you want to go. And, like business owners, startup, everyone, mature business people, we can learn from you, Amanda. I think, unfortunately 1 hour is only 1 hour. This is like the salt and pepper of the soup, and someone have to actually spend the time to eat the soup, I guess, to really understand it well.
I have to say, just thank you for not saying no to Leader Talk, because we are all learning a lot.
No, exactly. This is thank you.
But I know we're looking at time, Gus, but I've got to ask you this. And for our audience that wants to learn more about strategic connecting, there is a great article on Amanda's website, so amandarose.com.au. And there is a line that I've taken from there, because this is what really got me. You mentioned you can spend just 2 hours per week to strategically connect, and achieve what could take someone months to achieve if they are just networking. Now this, we are so time poor as business owners, as we know. This is what really got me thinking about strategic networking. So this is why this has become, just such a great topic to really hone in on that time and spend it where it should be spent.
Yeah, be efficient, and test things. So, I like to run events and come up with ideas, and I find a gap in the market, and I will email about 5 different people saying, I'm looking at putting this on. Would you be interested in partnering with it? They say yes, I roll it out. They say no, I don't. So, and I promote. Another thing in that, what helps with connecting is promoting on LinkedIn, Instagram, and Facebook what you achieve, what you do. So a lot of people are like, oh, but that's arrogant, that's self-promotion. Yes, it is self-promotion. No, it's not arrogant. You're a business. Would you say, okay, Nike, please stop doing ads. Please stop promoting what you do. Please stop doing TikTok. No, they're out there. This is what I have, and this is what we have, and you can buy it. Same with you. People need to know what you do, your achievements, your successes, you're engaged. You need to be out there. So when people do hear from you or do see you, they're like, oh, that's right. You specialize in this.
Yeah. It's a great conversation. And now I've asked my question. So I am going to hand it over to you, Gus, to wrap up the show because we are out of time.
Thank you. So I hope I do justice here because this is a great session. So I'm actually trying to focus while I'm writing bits and pieces of Amanda key messages. The topic that we talk about today is about being confident and ethical leadership. And you started by saying, have a clear vision and delegate well if you want to be successful. Don't think you need to know everything. Get a mentor, spend money, and invest in yourself on the way to success. Quick fix, not necessarily the answer. We need to do the work to investigate the gap and find the solution to the gap. You also say, understand your core values, clarity of the end goal, stick with it, and your confidence will grow. Confident is not arrogant. Being confident will take you to success. Then we move to ethical leadership, where you say it means doing the right thing to follow your values. Build your personal and professional brand, as the more you are relatable to your audience, the bigger your opportunity. Be authentic though, and be yourself, and be confident, and be ethical, and you will be successful. And then we closing by saying, put an effort to do strategic connecting with purpose to elevate your brand, business, and success. Amanda, 1 hour too short. I'm learning as well. Thank you so much for your time. The audience will learn a lot. And for the audience, if you want to know more, then go to Amanda website, which is amandarose.com, is it?
Yep, .com.au.
.com.au.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was so good.
Thank you so much, Amanda. Like I said, we could talk about this for a very long time, and I have definitely learned a lot. So absolute pleasure chatting to you. And thank you everyone for tuning in. For more information on Leader Talk and for some great resources to help your business grow, check out brainiact.com.au. Thanks everyone. Bye.
Thank you.